For my second mic'd up game ball of week 1 of the 2020 NFL regular season, we're going down to Jacksonville. And, if I said that we're giving it to a cornerback and you guys have been living under a rock these past few months, you might say, oh, yeah, that makes sense. Jalen Ramsey, he's an all-pro player. He probably is getting it. Or, hey, maybe it's A.J. Boye. That's a former Pro Bowler in his own right. Maybe he got it. Well, no, newsflash, those guys are long gone. They've been traded. Boye is in Denver. Ramsey is in LA. And as a result, many people, and myself included, we thought that this Jacksonville secondary was going to be one of the absolute worst in the NFL. Well, not if the number 9 pick, C.J. Henderson, the cornerback out of Florida, not if he has anything to say about it. As this man, he didn't just have a great game for a rookie. He had a great game for a seasoned veteran. He had a great game for anybody. As the stat line and the just the performance that he put up, it's comparable to anybody, and it compares pretty favorably to any other cornerback in the NFL after 1 week. It didn't matter if it was Paris Campbell, if it was T.Y. Hilton, if it was Michael Pittman, anybody and everybody that they lined up across from him. He was absolutely locking down right in their hip pocket all day, making plays. As I said, 3 pass deflections, an INT, just some critical coverage late in the game as the Jaguars were trying to secure that comeback and ultimately victory. And that's why he's getting my first defensive game ball of the 2020 regular season and second one overall. So now with that being said, let's hop into some film breakdown and talk about what exactly made him so special this past weekend. First off, let's talk about his acceleration, right? As, we all knew Henderson, he was a super explosive athlete, ran a 4.39 40-yard dash back at the NFL Combine this past March. Well, it's one thing to do that in a shirt and shorts. Well, it's another thing to do it in a helmet and shoulder pads. And, he most certainly did this past weekend. He was one of the most explosive guys on the field. And, especially going up against T.Y. Hilton, for example, one of the league's best wide receivers, you have to be super explosive. And in this case, have great acceleration, right? Is what you're going to see is off the snap, as the route stem is developing, he's going to be hip for hip with Hilton. And then, boom, Hilton hits his line mark, the first down marker, flips his hips, tries to come back on the comeback route as he goes to make a play on the ball by Phillip Rivers. And, look at right here. There's going to be about 2 yards of separation between Henderson and T.Y., potentially 3 as Hilton's come back to the ball. Well, look at just the fluidity in Henderson's ability to flip his hips, put a foot in the ground, and burst towards this ball as he's ultimately able to get a hand in there and prevent an easy play here on 1st and 10 to now make it 2nd and 10 and much more difficult of a set of downs for the Colts. Just a beautiful play made primarily by C.J. Henderson, and not only his man coverage ability, as we saw there on the route stem, but more importantly, his acceleration as he was able to make a break on the ball late to knock it out of T.Y.'s hands. Just a great play. And kind of branching off of acceleration, next up I want to talk about recovery speed, where maybe he isn't so locked down on that route stem to where he's right there with a good burst when the ball's in the air. This time, was that pass where he's gonna have inside leverage on Henderson, pre snap, and ultimately running a crossing route across the middle in man coverage. That's a recipe for disaster for any corner, let alone a rookie, right? Well, look at how off the snap, as you see Pascal, he creates a decent bit of separation there. You'll see it better on the subsequent view, but Henderson, man, he just shows off beautiful, obviously acceleration, but in this instance, it's really recovery speed, as he has a lot of ground to cover to make up and ultimately get in and make a play on this football here. As you're going to see, watch again the burst as he reads and reacts to the fact that the ball's in the air, and look at how he's able to get a hand in there, disrupt it, and again prevent a first down conversion. Just a beautiful play here by Henderson, the rookie. As I said, when you're giving up inside leverage to a guy on a crossing route, that's not where you want to be in man. Well, that's exactly where Henderson was, but he was still able to make it work because, again, just the explosiveness as an athlete, the recovery speed, the acceleration, it was all just working for him this past weekend. Next up, I had to pay some respect to Henderson's man coverage ability, as this was his bread and butter back at Florida in college. Well, there's a big difference between playing cornerback in college and in the NFL, right? And it's commonly why you hear me say that I think cornerback is the hardest position to translate from college to the NFL quickly. Obviously, most guys, there's kind of a buffer period of sometimes it's a few weeks, sometimes it's up to 2 to 3 years in certain cases. No matter how talented you are, it's tough to get acclimated to that NFL game speed. Well, apparently C.J. Henderson, he got acclimated pretty dang quick, as here he is going to be on a red zone target against T.Y. Hilton, again, one of the league's best receivers. Look at how an inward breaking route. Henderson is stuck to him like glue, step for step, in his pocket, in his hip pocket the entire way, gets a hand in there. This time doesn't deflect the ball, but disrupts the pass, obviously, as Hilton falls. No PI. The play is ultimately called back due to a formation. There was something wrong. Braden Smith was lined up too far off the ball. That's what it was. Play ended up getting called back, but it still doesn't negate the fact that that's some lockdown man coverage on really the first red zone target of Henderson's career. Just a beautiful play in which Ty, one of the best players in the league at creating that separation with their route running, Henderson stuck to him like glue the entire way. Just so impressive. With that being said, though, man coverage skills can only take you so far, as in this modern NFL where wide receivers are more talented than they've ever been. So many guys can be smothered for the entirety of their route, and then hey, just before the ball gets there, they utilize an inch or 2 inches of separation to go up there, make a grab. Sometimes one hand, sometimes two-handed, but just you see so many contested, spectacular catches made on a week-to-week basis. Well, that gets 10 times more difficult when you're facing a cornerback with ball skills who's also going up to try and either bat that ball away or make that grab. And C.J Henderson in week 1, he most certainly displayed those ball skills. As I said, 3 pass deflections, 1 INT. And, when I say ball skills, I don't want you just to think that I'm referencing somebody's ability to catch the ball at the catch point, to intercept the ball and flip the field. Because as a cornerback, you only have so many attempts at an interception, so many reasonable attempts at an interception during a season, right? To me, ball skills is so much more than that. It's, just imagine the amount of skill it takes to perfectly time and have the hand-eye coordination and ultimately concentration and motor skills to bat a ball out of the sky, to have your hand right where it needs to be when the ball is getting there. And C.J. Henderson, again, he most certainly exhibited that in week 1. As what you're going to see here is the game on the line. It's a 4th down conversion attempt by the Colts, trying to come back after they just blew the lead to the Jaguars. Well, look at how Philip Rivers, he's going to throw the curl route to their number 1 wide receiver. Well, he is being absolutely smothered by the Jaguars' new number 1 cornerback. And hey, when that ball gets there, Ty still has a chance, but not when you have somebody with that hand-eye coordination, that motor skill of C.J. Henderson, to which he's able to get a hand in there and bat it away with that right hand and ultimately ice the game for the Jaguars. Out of a rookie cornerback, out of any cornerback, this is just absolutely great stuff to ultimately win them the game. And lastly, what really impressed me about Henderson's debut game was that I don't want to say he answered questions that we had about him during the scouting process, but he most certainly made progress in kind of levying those concerns, right? And to me, the first of 2 areas where I feel like many people did have some question marks next to Henderson's name was in terms of, first off, his zone coverage ability. As I said earlier, his man coverage ability, that was his bread and butter. He's such a fluid, just quick guy who as we've seen in those previous clips, he was stuck to guys like glue in college as well as the NFL. Well, how is he in space as a zone coverage guy? Well, if this play here in particular is any indication, it looks like he's actually going to turn out quite okay. As initially off the snap, it appears to be some press man. Well, look at how once the ball's in the air, he gets his head around and he undercuts this as if he's supposed to be in a flat zone. And, based on how the safeties are acting, I'm not sure if this was supposed to be zone coverage, because everybody else, they're in straight man. This might have just been straight man with 2 deep high safeties where Henderson kind of improvises once he sees the balls in the air, or it could have been a cover 2 shell where they fooled Philip Rivers just as much as they fooled a lot of us watching and trying to break this down, as he's able to make a great break on the ball, go up, secure the catch at that catch point, and flip the field for the Jaguars. And in a game that came down to 1 possession, stealing a possession on a play like that by a rookie, that's just beautiful stuff. And as I said, I think that, assuming that was actually zone coverage, because, I don't think he would have had a similar reaction in man. I think that goes a long way in kind of levying some people's concerns about him that they might have had back in April. And lastly, another concern that a lot of people had about Henderson during the draft process was in regards to his open field tackling, as, many times it just seemed like, the ability was there, but maybe the willingness wasn't. He was more interested in preserving his body and kind of making a business decision to hang back and, let the linebackers and safeties make those tackles. Well, hey, in week 1, he looked like a changed man. As here's just a beautiful play on 3rd and short by the Colts, where again you're going to see him dropping back in zone coverage, in which watch how once he reads that Paris Campbell, once he reads that he's getting the ball thrown to him as he's making the catch, he's going to take off from, I don't know if you saw that, I paused it a little bit late, but, with his back foot on the 29-yard line, and then just look at the beautiful acceleration, the great pursuit angle, and ultimately the ability to bring down Paris Campbell here about a yard short of the first down marker to force the fourth down. It was ultimately a pretty big play in this game, and a play that I'm not sure if Florida C.J Henderson is making there, but Florida C.J Henderson, he's not the one that we're to be worried about anymore. It's Jacksonville C.J Henderson, and if you're an opposing offensive coordinator going up against this Jaguars defense, I think you need to worry quite a bit about Jacksonville C.J Henderson if Week 1 is any indication, because he had a debut of a lifetime. With that being said, that's all I got for you guys today. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you leave a like, make sure you leave a comment, make sure you subscribe, because there's not only going to be more Jaguars related content, but more importantly, just NFL related content as I hand out more game balls, as I continue to work towards finishing my NFL Top 100 series, as well as a bunch of other videos and content that I'm putting out for you guys. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. And with that being said, I'm mic'd up. Now I'm mic'ing out. Peace, guys.